that like if it's a real dramatic scene and like there's crime like and it's emotional, then you can hear people in the audience crying and sniffling and like that they're feeling what they're watching, that it's real, that it's not just a performance. This shit actually is real, and that we captivate them and you bring them in. Instead of like film, you don't know how they're gonna feel, and because then you got post production and how they're gonna edit it and how they're gonna cut it.
Yeah.
So you don't get that quick feedback if what you're doing is working or it's not working. But not in film. You just kind of do your thing, and then if the director likes it, all right, next, next take, move on to the next shot.
Okay, now we know you're in the movies. We know you're in film and in theater. Now, how does being a veteran help you or hinder you in this field?
I think right now we're in a great time, especially if other vets want to get into this industry, because Hollywood it's opening up its doors a lot for people that want to be actors or people that want to be behind the scenes. You want to be a suit, you want to be a director, producer, what do you want to dabble in? NBC, HBO right now is really opening up the door for a lot of opportunities for vets, and they're giving those slots right now to them because they know their work ethic and all that. So right now it's like a good time. Hollywood is very embracing the veteran community. But at the same time, years ago, when I talked to other vets that have been in the industry way longer, that before it wasn't like that. Hollywood didn't want nothing to do with vets. They didn't want to know that they were actors or anything. They're like, that's your past life. Just you're an actor now or you're a screenwriter. That's it. We don't want to know if you were a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
That they had a bad stigma for them because they think we're all fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been kind of getting broken into differently by a lot of vets that have come out and are doing excellent work in their specific fields. So that's opening their eyes to a lot of civilians, and other people are like, oh man, they're not all nuts. I'm like, they got hard work ethic. I'm like, they're reliable. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and most of the time they're not complaining. So that's the main thing. You're working with people 16 hours a day. You don't want to complain there. They're just dragging you even more down on the day or the shoot. So I've been seeing that that's been very helpful for us. But then at the same time, I've seen vets coming out and they feel entitled that that this should be given to them. One, they should remember that this is a whole new game. And I'm like, you learn the military game, now learn the entertainment game. It's a different game. So you're a private again. You're an E1. So go, but if you don't have any lines, like go and you got to do free stuff. You got to learn. I'm like, just like how we had to learn for our jobs in the military. But that's the one issue I've been seeing a lot out here, that people try to use the vet thing for an advantage, but then at the same time they kind of hurt all other vets because they're not ready. They're unprepared. They don't want to go through the trenches again, and or they feel just entitled that they shouldn't do these things. Like because they're a veteran or they serve, and I'm like, okay, that's a good thing, but this is a whole other playing field now. You need to see that this is something different. That you gotta pay your dues too.
Yeah,
I'm like, we started over again.
Yeah,
this is the shitty part. We don't want to start over because we're like, man, we've done so much. Like, give us a break. But at the same time, it's a new field. I'm like, if you've never done it or you've never dabbled in this, you need to just go in like everybody else but you at least have the military now helping you out, and a lot of different vets that are veterans out here working in different companies that they'll throw you a lifeline. They'll help you out. But if they do, you better be 100. You better be ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't just be coming half-assed and then making him look like a piece of shit because he hired a vet. I'm like, and then they're like, nah, don't hire no more vets. Get a civilian. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So that'd be the best advice to anybody. Just remember, you're an E1. You don't know shit. Start fucking learning.
Who's somebody that you look up to in this field? Like, who do you look as to a mentor or somebody that you aspire to be like, or something in that realm?
Shit. I'm like, man, in the field, shit. I guess a lot of dudes. I'm like, because I've gone and just had Q&As with a lot of the greats, from Anthony Hopkins, like hearing his story, hearing freaking De Niro, hearing Emilio Rivera, the Hispanic actor. Just seeing that a lot of people have gone through different paths, like to reach this point, like this overall goal that people want to get to. But they all came from different walks of life. Some with no money, some with a lot of money. So some with no time, with less time. So I just kind of like all the guys that just stayed on the grind and just got lucky or got those opportunities because he just stayed with it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when they become successful, they're like, man, you're an overnight success. They're like, no, I'm a 15-year overnight success.
That's right. That's
Me,
right.
I got 7 years put into this thing.
Yeah.
And I know it has to pop, but I don't know when it's going to pop. But I just got to just stay focused. And I go through depression like everybody else because you're like, when is this shit going to happen? But I'm like, just seeing them and seeing that they can make it, and they just stayed with it day by day or week by week, that they haven't just left and totally given up, that they succeed. So all these guys that are now doing big things, it's like the freaking Game of Thrones, the little short, the little person guy, that actor, that dude. I'm like, for him to be able to be where he's at, to be able to be getting paid the big bucks, that is freaking crazy, because back in the day, little people weren't getting paid nothing. They were getting treated like dog shit to try to be an actor. I'm like, and you're still getting told no and no, and you're like, nah, this is going to happen. I'm like, for him to break that mold, we can do it too. I'm like, you keep telling me no, but I'm going to get that yes eventually.
So I'm moving into sports psychology, which is performance psychology, essentially. And my background is psych, and I do mental training. Anyway, long story short, when we work with performers, specifically actors and anybody trying to land roles like singers and stuff like that, right? One of the things that we have to reiterate in sessions is that there can only be one, and just because they say no to you isn't because it's you. It's probably, it's your hair is too dark, or, so like we teach those strategies where it's like, they're not saying no to me, they're saying no to the voice, they're saying no to my frame, they're saying no to my height or my weight. Or
that's the main thing that really takes a toll on you, of the constant rejection. Like the constant is, you're not good enough thinking, that the classes that you're taking or your delivery is not good enough. So then you start dwelling on that because you don't think you're good enough, but at the same, you're enough. It's just, it's not you. If you put your producer's hat on, like that's what I started learning. Man, there's 1,000 other issues after what you did to see if you even fit this puzzle, because you might not even fit this puzzle, but you're good. But they're like, we can't use you.
Well, I look at like actors like Michael Cera, right? He started in Superbad, and he's just a quirky dude, and like, so people who've been in the industry a long time, they look at dudes like him and they're like, well, how? Why him? And, it's not delivery. It was just, he fits this quirky role.
The quirky dude, for this one
but he's being himself.
That's the perfect quirkiness we need. Boom, come here.
And he's himself. He's not acting quirky. That's just, that's him.
Just him delivering lines how he would in real life.
So is my filler word. I want to ask 2 more questions specifically to the film. And it's, the first one is like, your background and training in the military is one where the rest of us pogues, right? Pogues being personnel other than grunts. Like when we hear about it, you probably become the most instant coolest person in the room. When people introduce you, it's always this like grandiose, like here's this fucking badass. We were introduced and it was like Scout Sniper, and that's what I heard. But I heard it from somebody else, and hearing it from you, it's Recon. And it's probably the same feeling when, I, as a Marine, walk into a room where I'm the only vet and people are like, oh my God, you're a Marine? Like, did you kill anybody? Yeah. So I know we talked about it earlier about separating yourself from the Army in Oz, but now you've moved into LA, you're moving into bigger and better things, and you're using the military to get in the door, but you're not trying to be pigeonholed, right?
No.
Yeah. So are you more one than the other? And when you close the door for the day, do you get to take off your shoes and like become somebody even different than who you are in public?
Yeah, man, that's a good. Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, man, it's a hard one to answer. I'm like, but I think I came out here being more of myself. I'm like 7 years ago, and I think year by year of just the grind of doing this, I've kind of lost my own identity. At the same time, you start losing it because now you gotta act a different way, you gotta talk a different way, you gotta do different things that I wasn't accustomed to, or going into these rooms and dealing with these people I'm like that are not used to the way that I talk or that I want to present myself. That now I got to change it up. So it's hard. I'm like to break that apart, and then just that brings me back to something real quick. I'm like that. Fellow like producers or other vets are in the industry doing stuff. They always see me coming in like how you said. I come in, I'm quiet, I kind of, but that's not who I am in actuality. I like coming in, making noise, like Ozzy's here. How's everybody been doing? Speaking hugs for everybody. Let's freaking loud. Let's knock this shit out. Yeah. But doing that now in a regular city, it's not out here in Hollywood. That's like. You don't do that. Like they want you to doing something way different that I kind of hate doing at the same time. I'm like, why do I have to change? But it's the name of the game. I'm like, until then, people really go out with me or sit with me, and then there's nothing around that we can both like, okay, talk about something like, all right, this is the real Ozzy, and this is what I've been told before, and I'm like, oh shit, I like the real Ozzy. Yeah. Instead of this other Ozzy that comes in the room that's gotta act a certain way, just like, why don't you argue you? I'm like, cause I don't know. I'm like, this is how it seems that when we come, I gotta put this facade up, and then once I'm done with the meeting or whatever we've done, then I can take off this suit off, and then I can be in my own skin and be the person that I am. Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard to play the system. I'm like out here and doing that. I'm like, but yeah, it's either I get in my car, I get back to where I live, and or if it's people around me that know me really well, I'm like, that's when I open up more. And a lot of things I also like doing is going to the American Legion, Post 43 right here in Hollywood, because it's a bunch of vets in the industry, and over there it's just like if you're back in the base. Yeah. Because there's no rank anymore, but there's still everybody got that military swag, that talk, the cussing, the talking the real shit, and don't take offense to it. I'm like, even if I told you look like dog shit, and I'm like, you're like, yeah, this is what happened. Okay, that's probably why. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, and people don't take such as offense to it. But the problems I've been dealing with moving out here is just that, I guess the realness and the truthfulness of telling people certain things, the truth. They don't like hearing that, especially civilians. Yeah.
I have a feeling that as you mature into this world, that you're going to be more like your true self than a facade, because like we took Jake, my son, we took him, he wanted to go see Superman. There's a guy on Hollywood Boulevard that dresses as Superman, and he's like, instead of working, I was like, okay, buddy, I'm going to take you to Hollywood. We go out to Superman, and then, I'm looking around, the footprints and the handprints in front of the Man Theater. I go and I see Quentin Tarantino's footprints, and his shoes, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but his shoes on the bottom, I don't know if he had them made specifically for this, but his feet print, his footprints, whatever, his prints in the cement, the shoes say "fuck you" on both of them. One of them is capitals, and the other shoe is all lowercase. And it's just a testament to him not changing who he was to fit in. And I think that once you break into, I have a good feeling that you're going to be able